All right, we will get started. I know that this is being recorded for anyone who is interested in this information but cannot attend in real time. For those of you who are here, welcome. My name is Kevin Rich. I'm the Director of Applied Shakespeare and an Associate Professor of Theater here at CU Boulder, and I'm joined by two graduates of the Applied Shakespeare Certificate program, Jill Gordon, who graduated with the 2020 cohort, if I'm not mistaken, and Ryan Justice, who just graduated this year with as part of the 2022 cohort. Thank you both for joining. I'm just what's going to happen here is I'm going to give a quick presentation to hopefully answer some of the frequently asked questions. It won't be more than 5 minutes, if that many. And then I'd like to give time to Jill and Ryan to speak to their experience of participating in the program and what they got out of the program, what they're doing with the certificate that they earned. And then with any time we have left, we'll take any questions that you are welcome to drop into the chat. There should be a webinar chat feature, and I will keep my eye on that. But after the three of us have briefly presented, we'll answer any questions and then send you on your way no later than 4:30 Mountain Time. I want to make sure we respect everyone's time. So hopefully you can see the slide presentation here. Today I'm just going to quickly do an overview of the courses that we offer, first answering what is Applied Shakespeare anyway, and then talking a little bit about the program. So what is Applied Shakespeare? Applied Shakespeare, for our purposes, is an umbrella term that asks how Shakespeare applies today in our everyday lives, in education, in community, and as applied to the creation of new work. This program is an interdisciplinary graduate certificate. It's a 9-credit grad certificate, 9 graduate credits from CU Boulder. And there are 3 campus partners involved in this. This is a collaboration with the Department of English, the Department of Theater and Dance, and the Colorado Shakespeare Festival, which is in our backyard, essentially. Who enrolls in this program? We have been drawing 3 primary groups: teachers and teaching artists, theater makers, and scholars and enthusiasts. And that has turned out to be a highlight of the program. This is a quote I like from a graduate a couple of years ago. Not only does Applied Shakespeare offer a unique way of exploring how Shakespeare fits into our contemporary world and serves diverse populations, but with students coming from such varied backgrounds, each class session has been insightful and engaging, because everybody is looking at Shakespeare from a different place, and that really enriches the conversation in class, in my experience. So if you were to apply for this upcoming 2023 cohort, here are some important dates. Again, the 9-credit certificate consists of 2 online classes and an on-campus 1-week summer intensive. The first class would start in the spring semester, January 23rd. It would be on Mondays, 3 to 5 Mountain Time. But it's important to know that if that time doesn't work for you every week, each class is recorded and you can watch the content later. Ryan can actually speak to that, because Ryan was teaching through a part of the class, and so would only join us for the second hour and was able to watch the first hour asynchronously. So that is an option, because we know that our students are all very busy and have full-time jobs often. So we do offer that flexibility. So the first class runs through the spring semester, and it comes out of English. We'll talk more about that later. The second class, Shakespeare and Community Theater 5143, continues the next Monday after the first class ends. So that's the one window of time that you would have to make available, is Monday 3 to 5 Mountain Time. That runs into July, right before the summer intensive starts. on-campus summer intensive. You come to Boulder, see all the shows in the Colorado Shakespeare Festival season that we'll have been talking about in the first two classes, and that runs July 31st to August 6th. And I also wanted to mention that as this program has grown and graduates of the program have asked for more content, we have created another class called Teaching Shakespeare that we run in the fall that you can take if you want to, supersize your certificate, essentially, which both Jill and Ryan have done, so they can speak to that course as well. So just really briefly, the first class, as I mentioned, comes out of English. This year will be taught by Associate Professor David Glimp, and it serves as an intro, not only to the concept of applied Shakespeare, but also to the cohort. You'll all get to know each other, and you primarily cover the shows that are included in the 2023 season. This year, it's Much Ado About Nothing, King Lear, The Winter's Tale, One Man, Two Governors by Richard Bean, and then the original Practices production is Comedy of Errors. You'll also begin to discuss your capstone project, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. And guest artists from Colorado Shakespeare Festival will drop into the class, particularly those who are directing the upcoming productions, to talk a little bit about the shows that you'll see when you actually come to campus in the summertime. Shakespeare and Community is the second course that comes out of the theater department, and it's taught by me. And it essentially surveys Shakespeare and community. So every week we look at an application of Shakespeare with a specific population. It might be Shakespeare in prisons, Shakespeare with veterans, Shakespeare and autism, Shakespeare and climate. There's just a growing number of really interesting intersections. And you'll have the opportunity to, we will zoom in applied Shakespeare practitioners who are doing this work all over the country, and hear from their experience. Now, as I mentioned, you will be developing a capstone project. You don't have to know what that capstone is at the time that you apply. Some do, others might have an idea, but then change their minds as they start to learn about all the different approaches that exist. But essentially, it's an opportunity for you to create a project that really serves you. So I think I have a slide on that. I'll show examples of it in just a few moments. The third course of the certificate is the on-campus intensive. You'll come to campus. This is primarily within the Colorado Shakespeare Festival. Again, the first course comes out of English, second course comes out of theater and dance, and the third is you're going to have an opportunity to see all of CSF shows, participate in master classes taught by CSF guest artists, as well as faculty here at CU. You'll sit in on rehearsals and have an opportunity to have a roundtable discussion about your capstone project, which you'll then have a month to complete after the end of the intensive. And as I mentioned, there's now a fourth class, which we could also offer in lieu of the on-campus intensive. If there's anybody, we had to make this option available during the pandemic, especially if you're not able to come to campus. You could earn the certificate by replacing it with this online class so that you could take the entire certificate online. Examples of capstone projects. So the teachers among us will often create a lesson plan for a classroom or a syllabus for a new course, or they'll redesign a Shakespeare curriculum for their school. The teaching artists will design and teach a workshop for a specific population of people. We had someone this year create a blog exploring plays through a specific lens. You might present a directing concept for a Shakespearean production and actually direct the show, which Ryan can talk about. That's what Ryan did. If you're a performer, you could create a solo performance piece connected to a Shakespearean play or character. We've had a few playwrights write a new play inspired by or in conversation with a Shakespearean play. Or if you're more of a scholar, interested in then moving on from this certificate into a master's or PhD program, you could just write a research or thesis paper that intersects Shakespeare with a specific field, topic, or social issue. So we cast a wide net here, make a lot of options available. You could also think of something that's not on this list. What's important is that the capstone project be your opportunity to do what you came to this program to do. And since we attract such a wide variety of students, we always have a wide variety of capstone projects. Some frequently asked questions. What is the cost of this program? It's $638 per credit hour for the entire 9 credits. And this applies to both Colorado resident and non-resident students. We unfortunately don't offer financial aid or scholarships at this time. We do, however, have a 4-month payment plan for students who enroll prior to January 4th. So then you could pay over the course of 4 payments. And there is a link, which I'm happy to send via email as well. Is housing available for the on-campus intensive? It's not, but we do provide a list of hotels within walking distance on campus. Many of our out-of-town students choose rental options through Airbnb as well. We do make rolling decisions once we receive your application, but the deadline, the latest that you can apply, is December 1st, and the latest that you'll hear about a decision is December 14th, over a month in advance of the program's start date. And how you apply, I can put the link to our website, but if you found us, you probably know about this website already. But the 3 things that we need are an unofficial transcript, because you do need to document that you've completed an undergraduate degree in order to participate in this graduate level certificate, a brief 1-page statement of purpose, and 1 letter of reference. And now I'd love to stop talking and have Jill and Ryan speak a little bit to their experience of this certificate. Jill, would you like to get us started? I'm happy to say that Jill is not only a graduate of the certificate, but then continued on with us and is currently a master's student here at CU Boulder, and was able to apply the 9 credits of her certificate toward the degree.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited to be here and share my experience. And if you have any questions, I'm sure you have a lot of questions, please put them in the chat, and Kevin will let Ryan and I know what you want to know. So I'll try to move right along, but I guess you probably would like to know how I got started, like why me? Why did I do this? I had a long career in the airlines, and when I left the airlines, I decided to reinvent myself and follow a very intense interest in Shakespeare. I was just an enthusiast, but wanted to be a scholar. So this program came to my attention through some folks that were already in school at CU, and I decided to apply. And fortunately, I was accepted. And so what else? I started in, and what I really wanted was just to be in conversation with people about Shakespeare, because I was reading a lot. I was reading all the time, but I didn't have anybody to talk to. So through the applied Shakespeare class and the Shakespearean community, all of a sudden I had a whole slew of people who wanted to talk about Shakespeare with me. And that was really, really great. And I met Kevin and some other wonderful people, and many of them I'm still friends with and stay in touch with. But I really enjoyed the initial class, the applied Shakespeare class with Dr. Glimpf. It's really very informative, and the discussions that ensued were super interesting. And then the applied Shakespeare is really my deep interest, because I'm very much interested in community and community building. And that class offered a lot of new ways to think about what does that mean to be in community, and especially through the lens of Shakespeare. And it's opened up a lot of things for me. So I would imagine you want to know, what did I do with this? My capstone project I was teaching at a local college. I was teaching yoga actually, and I still do. But when they found out I was in this program, they asked me if I wanted to teach a class, an introductory class to Shakespeare on the continuing education level. So that became my capstone. So fortunately, somebody sort of handed me that topic, but I wrote a syllabus for a 10-week class, thinking that it would only be 10 weeks. And it's now been 4 semesters, and we're going to go into our 5th semester in January. But I gear this toward a population that's very different. It's adult learners who feel that they didn't maybe have an opportunity or didn't want to pursue Shakespeare when they were younger, and now they're very interested and they would like to know. So we have a lot of fun, and it's been very rewarding for me. And that's really my love, is doing and being in community with people. So I think if you decide to pursue this program, the rewards are endless. I can't even tell you now what they'll be for you, but I know that it's been a real wellspring of new friendships, new ways of thinking. I would think of myself as a Shakespeare scholar and someone who pursues applied Shakespeare. And I would say, I hope Ryan agrees with me, I wouldn't get too worried about the capstone, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? It will come, because you'll find what's interesting you as you go through it. And you have lots of people to ask. You can always ask me. I'm sure you can ask Ryan. And Kevin is always there for you. There's plenty of suggestions, so don't feel you have to do something enormous to start with what interests you. And believe me, it will grow. It will grow on its own very organically. So I hope you decide to pursue this. It's well worth it, and it's been very rewarding. And as Kevin said, I'm now in the master's program in theater and performance, and very, very happy that I've taken this route.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jill.
You're welcome.
Ryan, you are newly minted. Your show, your capstone, just opened a couple weeks ago, so I'm excited for you to share a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, so for myself, I've had about a 25-year history in performing arts and teaching dance. And in 2018, I sort of made the decision that I was going to make a transition away from that and move into teaching in a high school setting. And I went back for a master's degree in theater. And during that time, sort of landed in a class where I had a Shakespeare focus, and sort of found that I was kind of interested in it again, after coming from a high school setting in general, where I didn't have the most positive experience with Shakespeare. So I was kind of intrigued by it. In 2020, during the pandemic, landed a full-time teaching job in theater in a high school in California. And so the school had a history of running productions of Shakespeare about every couple of years. And it felt like there was some expectation that I was going to do a production of Shakespeare, which I was sort of terrified of doing. So I found this program looking for ways to learn more about Shakespeare and how to work with Shakespeare and teach Shakespeare. So enrolled in got into the program, which was great. I will second everything Jill said about the classes. They were really helpful and wonderful. I was able to bring concepts and ideas back to my classroom kind of immediately, and even apply it outside of Shakespeare into my other theatrical endeavors that I do with the students. Which was really helpful. My capstone, I had not decided when I came in. I think in my letter of intent, I said, I plan in the next 2 years to do a show. And somehow that turned into my capstone as we got into the process of going through the classes. And I literally just closed my show this weekend. And so now I have now gone through the full process of mounting an entire Shakespeare play with my students. And we did The Two Gentlemen of Verona, and it was with 2 casts and varying genders and roles. And it was all kinds of fun and zaniness. But my ultimate goal for myself was that I wanted to sort of find a way for my students to change their mentality and their connection with Shakespeare. I didn't want them to leave high school with sort of that typical groan sigh memory of Shakespeare. I wanted them to have a I have a positive remembrance of Shakespeare, and they may not grasp it right now, the importance, but I think that it'll help them in their futures. And we had some positive responses to it. So that was my ultimate goal with it. I think one of the things for me that really is a standout was the intensive. I'm guessing, Jill, you may not have got the intensive if you did 2020, or did Jill get the intensive?
Yeah, we had to postpone it that year, but then
Okay.
we had two cohorts together, 2020 and 2021.
Awesome, Jill. But for me, the intensive was one of the best things. It was one of the most exhausting weeks, just because there was a lot to do, but it was so much fun and so much information you walk away with, and ways to apply just what you've learned in so many different ways, whether it is that you're a practitioner, or you're applying practitioner, or you are a teacher, or you're just being a scholar. There's so much to just take away from all of the experiences. And CU Boulder is just beautiful. Who doesn't want to be there?
That's great. Jill, do you have?
Yeah, I want to second that about the
Yeah.
intensive. It was right at, not the end of the pandemic, but it was at a time when we could come back together, and we were with the current cohort. So I don't remember how many there were of us, but it was so special just being together, and you're with the faculty and the staff, and you really feel part of the group. Like you're right there with everybody, and you go and you watch rehearsals, and you take classes, and you're in the buildings. And I just found it was really fun. I mean, it was tiring because we were going every minute. We were going to the theater at night, we were in class during the day, but it is well worth it. And just, I had a wonderful time. I wouldn't change anything about it. It was great.
Do you want to talk a little about, so the master classes that you'll take during the day will be sort of, it's like a sampler platter, some acting master classes, some directing, some dramaturgy. You'll have an opportunity to tour Norland Library's special collections, which is always a favorite. But in terms of, Jill, can you talk to, because I often get questions from people who, for example, don't have an acting background. What is it like to take an acting master class if you've never done it before or don't have a ton of experience with it?
So that's me,
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah, I'm not an actor at all. I have no experience acting. I don't know anything about it, but that's partly why I wanted to go. I mean, if you have some hesitation thinking, I don't know this, I don't feel comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable at all because I have no acting background. But I actually wrote one of the teachers and said, take it easy on me because I don't know anything. And she was very kind and considerate and said, don't worry, I'll make this great for you. And it was the teacher who teaches the movement class, Tammy. And first off, she's a consummate pro. She's so interesting. And then we did a lot of movement. And of course, because I have a yoga background, that was pretty natural for me. But I will say it was just people I already knew being together, and we were moving. And then she did a day on Commedia dell'arte, which was something I didn't know anything about. And it was fascinating. And that has to do with wearing masks and the significance of that. And I would say, please don't feel put off like you can't do this, or why would you do it? You do it because you're going to learn. And now after you complete it, you're going to know about it. And it's wonderful.
That's great. Well, I'm looking at the chat. If there are any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. I'm not seeing any at the moment. Hopefully we've covered a lot of the main questions. We've done this for a few years now, so no problem if you don't have any additional questions. Please feel free to follow up with me, however, if you'd like. My address is just appliedshakespeare@colorado.edu. I'd be happy to set up a Zoom call to speak one-on-one, because I know it's a big commitment, or we could just exchange emails if you have any specific questions. And I don't want to make you too available, but if they have questions of alumni, can I forward them to you? I think it's great to be able to check in with people who've actually done the program. So thanks for that. Well, great. Before I let everyone get on with their day, any parting thoughts, Ryan or Jill? I mean, that was pretty great. You pretty much covered everything I was hoping you would cover. So thank you for that.
I'll second what Jill said. I think for me, I will definitely consider myself a little bit more of a Shakespeare scholar now, now that I've gone through this process, and someone who's not afraid of Shakespeare anymore, which I think I was a little bit intimidated coming into this program, and not because of the program, just my own personal fears and concerns, but definitely feel like I have increased my Shakespeare library of knowledge and books and everything that I want to learn more. And so I keep diving down rabbit holes and hope that you do too.
Now that we've run this for about 5 years, we now have this kind of, family that, and I'm still brainstorming ways to have the different cohorts interact with each other. I keep saying, and I think it'll happen this year, a Facebook group is on its way, because everyone wants to know how because sometimes the capstone project, and I should say this, it doesn't need to be realized. Some people actually are able to direct a production, as Ryan was able to, just because the timing worked out. But oftentimes the capstone is simply the pitch of something that you intend to do. And so alumni then want to know what happened when graduates were actually able to do it. So in the works are continuing opportunities to stay in touch, not only with your own cohort, but people from other cohorts as well. All right, I'm seeing we're right at 4:30. Thanks again, Jill and Ryan, for joining, and for all of you for attending. And again, please reach out, Applied Shakespeare at Colorado.edu, if you have any questions between now and our application deadline of December 1st. Thanks all. Have a great day. Thanks, Jill and Ryan. Thank you so much. It was great to see you.
You're welcome. Kevin, do you have a minute for me to ask you something, a couple of things?